Hello everyone, 안녕하세요 여러분. Today we're going to do a little bit of revision for operating system concepts. We're going to review some sample questions based on past exams. So let's dive right into it. Okay, question 1. The mark allocated for this question is 3 marks and it goes like, explain the role of an operating system as a resource allocator. And this is how we're gonna answer the question. It is involved with the hardware. A computer system has many resources that may be required to solve a problem. CPU time, memory space, file storage space, input-output devices, and so on. The operating system acts as the manager of these resources. The operating system must decide how to allocate them to specific programs and users so that it can operate the computer system efficiently and fairly. Okay, next question. Explain the importance of privileged instructions. And the mark allocated for this question is 3 marks. This is how we're going to answer it. Some of the machine instruction that may cause harm is known as privileged instructions. It is being used to provide protection to the operating system. It can only be executed in supervisor or kernel mode. Now, I'm gonna tell you how you can score 5 marks for this question. And the question is, explain briefly on what will happen to the computer system when we open a file residing in the USB drive. And this is how we're gonna answer it. To open a file, first, we need to locate the location of the file. In this case, it is a USB drive. Then, the operating system, through its memory manager, needs to allocate memory space to load the content of the file. A few system calls are needed to make it happen. And just like that, you'll get 5 marks. Okay, moving on to question 2. The question sounds like, interestingly, an operating system does some kind of an accounting process in the computer system. Explain it with an example about this function. And the mark allocated for this type of question is 4 marks. This is how we're going to acquire 4 marks for this question. To accumulate usage statistics, to keep track users' resource usage. Up next, we have what is the relationship between the application programming interface and the system call. Give one example to support your answer, and the mark is 4 marks. And this is how we're going to answer it. The function that makes up an application programming interface typically invoke the actual system calls on behalf of the application programmer. For example, Win32 function create process is used to create a new process. Actually calls the anti-create process system call in the Windows kernel. Question 2. C. What is a system program? List all the system program categories. And the mark allocated for this question is 5 marks. This is how we're going to answer it. System program is a program that provides a convenient environment for program development and execution. The categories are file management, status information, file modification, programming language support, program loading and execution, and communication. Question 3a. Define the term process in the operating system's context. What is the difference between a process and a program? The mark allocated for this question is 4 marks, and this is how we're gonna answer it. Process is a program in execution. Program is a passive entity stored on disk, whereas process is an active entity running. Question 3. B. Draw a process state diagram. This question is quite easy and you'll get 3 marks for just drawing the diagram. And we have learned this in the previous lecture, so this is it. And just like that, you'll gain 3 marks just for drawing. Okay, for question 3C, you'll get 2 marks just for stating the answer for where do we store the information about processes? And the answer is process control block. The mark allocated for question 3D is 4 marks, and the question goes, when a process creates a new process, there are 2 possibilities that exist in terms of the address space of the new process. Explain. And the answer is, the child process is a duplicate of the parent process. It has the same program and data as the parent. The child process has a new program loaded into it. And just like that, you'll gain 4 marks. Okay, so for question 4, the mark allocated for the question is 4 marks. And the question sounds like, describe briefly one difference between the single-threaded and the multi-threaded process. For a single-threaded process, it contains the execution of instructions in single sequence, while in multi-threaded process, it allows the execution of multiple parts of a program at the same time. And the second one is, for single-threaded process, one command at a time, and for a multi-threaded process, more than one commands are processed at a time. Question 4B. Why does switching threads cost less than switching processes? And the mark allocated for this question is 4 marks, and this is how we're gonna answer it. Less state needs to be saved and restored, or thread used less resource compared to process, or any other relevant answer. Question 4C. Using only one example, illustrate how the thread works. And the mark allocated for this question is 4 marks. And this is how we're going to answer it. A word processor may have a thread to display graphics, other threads to correspond to keystrokes from the user, and another thread to check spelling and grammar error. Okay, so we've got to the last question, and the question goes like, explain one benefit of the multi-threaded programming. And from this question alone, you can achieve 3 marks. Okay, to answer it, you just have to explain one of the following. Responsiveness. A program can continue running even part of it is blocked. Or resource sharing. Allow a program to have multiple execution engines that share the same resources. Or economy. Thread shares the resources from the process it belongs to. Or scalability. Multiprocessor architecture. Threads may run in parallel on different processors. And that's it. See you in another video. Bye bye.